Hey guys, Lumberjack Chad here with New England Homesteaders. We're out here clearing the site for the pond. We've got almost an acre of trees to cut down, probably 7/10 to an acre. We haven't quite figured out exactly how big the pond's going to be. So this is one of the many hats that I'm going to be wearing during my future life here on the homestead. Haven't done much chainsaw work in the past, so really getting the hang of it now. We've been dropping all of the small trees. I don't know if you can see behind me how much is on the ground back there, but we've been just focusing on the small stuff right now. That's all probably less than 4 inches or so. Jason's over there working the electric. We've got a I think it's a Ryobi electric. It's like a 48 volt or something. And the other day it was so cold, it was like 6 degrees. We couldn't get the regular chainsaw started. So we were out here, I had a couple of buddies up, and we used that electric chainsaw for a good hour and a half with 3 batteries. I'm gonna get a couple more of the big 4 amp hour batteries or something. I'm gonna get a couple more of those, but that definitely saved us the other day because we got a lot done. If you look behind me over this way, it's a lot clearer over there. We worked for about 2 hours, cut and dragged, and the amount of firewood that we collected already just from that first batch of small stuff is crazy. So probably going to get in the neighborhood of 20, 30, 40 cords of wood once we clear this whole pond site. If you look behind me here, here's the pile from the other day. That's a substantial pile. The 3 of us worked for a couple hours. Jason and I have cut down way more than that today in the last hour with 2 chainsaws running. So we've got a lot of work to do over the next 2 days, over the weekend, to get that stuff all pulled out. I'm going to use the grapple on the tractor to move this stuff out away from this sort of opening here. And then in February, I'm hoping to get one of those log grapples that goes on the back, the 3-point hitch. It's a Wallenstein. And that works like a skidder, and I'll be able to get in here when we drop these big trees and pull those out of here. We got our work cut out for us in the next couple of days. There's a lot of wood to drag out of here, and almost all of it is beech and oak and maple. So there's a lot of stuff that's probably 3-4 inches in diameter. It's a lot of good firewood. So how cool was that? Tell you what, that grapple on that tractor, it took us over 2 hours to create this pile behind us, and we moved it with the tractor in just 4 grabs. So it was probably about 5 minutes, 7 minutes, I don't even know. We just spent another had 4 of us today. Alex and Jason was here again, and his girlfriend Alyssa, and we just spent the last 2 hours making more piles, cutting, dragging the stuff that Jason and I dropped yesterday. We created a little bit more work for ourselves yesterday because Jason and I were just furiously cutting with 2 chainsaws, so kind of ended up with a pick up sticks puzzle, and had to use the chainsaw to kind of cut our way out and get organized. But I'll tell you, that Ryobi electric chainsaw, looks like Jason took it back in, is amazing. The battery life with those 3 batteries, they're actually 3 amp hour batteries, and with 2 of those and then one of the smaller 2 amp hour batteries, you get about an hour and a half of cutting total, I think. And that was about the same amount of cutting that we got off of 1 tank of gas on the chainsaw. So kind of like the fact that you don't need any gas or oil, and you don't have any issues of leaving fuel in them. And if you got solar panels, you can recharge them. And it's super quiet. It's always so quiet out here, and running a chainsaw is just so loud, and the sound carries forever. So using one of those electric chainsaws, especially on a day like today where we were, digging our way out from all the stuff that we had cut yesterday, with people, working together, it's much easier, and you don't need hearing protection, and you can talk. But here's another giant pile that we just created today behind us, and there's another one out there towards the big pile of wood chips, and the amount of firewood that's in here is just amazing. These logs that we're cutting here are probably about 3 to 6 inches, I would guess, and there's just so much firewood here that we need to cut up. And we haven't even made a dent in what's behind us here, because everything behind us is probably 6 inches or better, and there's some really nice big trees in here. So when Hank, the guy with the portable sawmill, comes in a couple weeks and cuts up all that pine for me, I'm gonna have him look through the logs that the timber guys left for me and see if there's anything there worth cutting. But there's certainly some decent oaks and stuff in here that we'll mark and put aside, and I'll probably have him come back later in the spring when we've got this all cleared out. But a couple more days of cutting and dragging all this small stuff, and we should have it pretty clear, and then we may start dropping some of these bigger trees. It'll be much easier to drag them out when we have the grapple on the back of the tractor, though. It really gives me an appreciation for how they did things back in the 16, 17, 1800s. Just hard to believe that this was clear cut, and that it was teams of axemen, and they had horses and ropes, or I don't know, they had chains back then, but just crazy the amount of labor that it would take to clear this whole area behind us. And we're trying just to do about 7/10 of an acre for the pond here. So a couple of months of cutting and dragging is going to get this pretty clear cut, and then the real work is going to start. Digging the pond, bringing in an excavator for that, and then probably a couple years worth of firewood to be cut. So hope you guys are having a good week, and we'll check in again soon.